Hello everyone and welcome back to the channel and another video for you guys. This time not a build video, this is more like a feedback slash complaints slash what I like about the game slash, you know what I mean, what I would like to see. Just literally my feedback to GGG. The reason why I'm doing this, I know I'm a relatively new content creator, but I do believe they should get as much feedback as possible. I'm not pretending to think that this is going to reach them, but you know, on the off chance that somebody watches and maybe they get some, you know, some insights, some feedback, some whatever, why not? But these are the things that I would like to see changed. Starting off with skills, let's just get right into it, right? This one is going to take a few minutes, so if you're not interested like in the skill section, I am going to leave timestamps in the description. You can just skip through the video. This is not a compressed short video. It's kind of a rant. I just have a few bullet points written down what I want to talk about, but the rest of it is going to be me ranting basically, but I'm going to try to keep it positive, right? Okay, so as far as the skills go, Flameblast. Here's just one example of a completely useless skill that they over-nerfed and now it's literally not utilized anywhere. So I had this idea, right? They made Flameblast and they gave it a 15-second cooldown. 15-second cooldown, guys. And I was just like, okay, I mean, we can work with this, right? We can work around it. We can definitely invest like an idiot into cooldown recovery and then we'll just make this build work, right? Obviously. Well, no, we're not gonna do that. So have a look. I invested literally everything possible into cooldown recovery. We have cooldown recovery here, the strongest cooldown recovery on a shield that you can get. It goes up to 60%, but I'm not gonna waste 60 divines in order to test that out. I'm gonna let you know what the little percentages actually accomplish. 16% in my helmet, 12% on all of my jewelry. I also bought a, I guess I'm just gonna show this to you guys as proof, right? I also bought a Temporalis. It actually cost me 80 divines to buy it. It had 1.98 second less cooldown, so almost 2 seconds less cooldown, right? I bought it just to try out this build, this thing, this idea that I had, and then I quickly resold it, as you can see here. But still, with all of that, and taking the cluster of cooldown recovery here, forthcoming gives you cooldown recovery, and then pathing from here all the way here to get the cooldown recoveries. Oh my lord, look at all of that lovely cooldown recovery, cooldown recovery, cooldown recovery. Also, I could have a few more jewels, but let's just get this out of the way. Look at the problem. 5% increased cooldown recovery rate. Cooldown time 4.25 seconds, and if I take this out, it's 4.31. So even if I add like 4 more of these and get the 10% here and get the 8% here and get all of that and the Temporalis, you get it down to about 3 seconds cooldown. So even after taking all of this opportunity, like this is such an opportunity cost, right? Because pathing here prevents you from taking a lot of damage, crit nodes, stuff like maybe AoE, whatever you would want to do with Hexblast, right? Taking all of these nodes, all of these items, like here, I am sacrificing a shit ton of energy shield. We're not getting +3 to all spell skills. We're not getting cast speed. We're not getting critical hit chance. We're losing so much damage just to get this cooldown recovery rate, and yet, there is no way to get this under 3 seconds. Like, okay, sure, this is a Chayula monk because it was a character that is currently not being utilized for anything, so I just decided to test it out here to see how low I could bring the cooldown. But yeah, about 3.5 seconds for me was the least I could get it down. And then I was like, okay, so maybe we can just use Flameblast, kill a bunch of enemies, and then spam Volatile Dead, right? And then the balls are gonna like go around. And long story short, guys, the build just doesn't work. Like you waste way too many points pathing here to get all of this cooldown recovery, and then you just lose a lot of damage, and it's just it doesn't work. So what I would really like to see for GGG, to do it. It's like if you see that, I don't know, 10 seconds cooldown is already enough where no one is gonna actually use the skill except for people who like decide to fully invest in it. Why not just let it at 10 seconds so that we can actually make it a spammable skill and actually make it a useful skill, so we can actually play with the skills that are in the game? Because this is just one example. I think I should explain everything here, but this is just one example. If we take Hexblast as an example also, shout out to Off Meta Michael, I think that's what the channel is called. He had a video like a few months ago. It was in 0.2, I think. He had a video where he experimented with Hexblast after it got nerfed, after it got, can only detonate curses for which at least half of the duration has expired, which is just so stupid. And he decided to invest into quicker expiration, so the curses really expired really fast. He went full in, right? He really tried making Hexblast work, and it was so janky, it was completely useless. Please, GGG, just give us a few more skills to work with, like Unearth, and Bone Storm, no matter how hard I try, how hard I look. I mean, sure, you'll find some builds, but they're not really working. And please understand, when I say that a build functions, I don't mean it deletes bosses in 1 second, it deletes all pinnacle content in 1 second. I'm okay with having to dodge a few times when I come to a boss, right? Especially when I come to a tier 16 Delirious, Asmiri Spirits, I don't know what, empowered map boss, right? And they have like 15 million HP. Sure, I'm down. We're gonna have to dodge a few times. We're gonna have to spend like 30 seconds in the boss fight. No problem. But a lot of these skills can't even get you there. So I'm pretty sure everyone is getting a little bit sick and tired of lightning skills. Elemental skills, lightning skills rule. Quarterstaff, lightning skills are strong. Crossbow, lightning skills. Spear, lightning skills. Bow, lightning. Like, come on, guys. Like, come on. Can we do something else? It's been 3 leagues now. Okay, it's been 3 leagues now, and we are basically constantly getting OP lightning skills with, some candy here and there. Amber Fusillade obviously was a really popular choice this league as well for people, as were some other things like the shield warrior builds and stuff like that. I know it's getting a lot better, so let me just preface everything by saying I know the meta has gotten quite a bit better, but there are still so many offensive contenders in the entire skill tree that I would really appreciate it if you found a way to, Eye of Winter, maybe buff it a little bit, give it the critical weakness back, because nobody is using Eye of Winter now. Just something. Okay, moving on. I have already pointed out, I think it was on a Titan build, Time of Need bugs out. So the skill Time of Need, with its reduced duration, actually bugs out for some reason when you enter maps. I don't know if it's because that build, for me personally, that build is using a Megalomaniac with Polymathy and near at hand, or if it's because of the compressed duration, or if it's because of I don't know what. But Time of Need actually bugs out. It's on my Titan build, it will proc like every 3 seconds instead of every 1.3 seconds. And every time I enter a new map, all I have to do is like click it on and off. Similar with Blasphemy. If this has been fixed, I know the Time of Need bug has not been fixed, but if the Blasphemy bug has been fixed, sorry, I take it back. The Blasphemy bug is like, and I only noticed it on my Incindigon build. Like I copied the Incinerate Indigon build, right? Where you have a double Blasphemy aura, and then you also use a third curse. Now I was using a single Blasphemy aura with temporal chains, and then I was also dropping Despair onto the mobs, right? Just manually casting Despair on the mobs. The Blasphemy aura would work on the mobs up until Despair hit them, and then when Despair would land on them, it would just overwrite it, even though I had double curses possible, even though I had the investment that I needed, right? So another thing that I noticed, if you turn it on and off when you enter a map, Blasphemy, you just click it on and off, then it starts working then it works normally. Then even if you manually cast curses on a mob, the aura is still gonna work. Just a quick mention, if that bug hasn't been fixed yet, just so you guys know, that's something that still needs to get handled. Next point, I wanted to quickly talk about zone sizes, about the different zones during the campaign and in maps. For me personally, when they said like they reduced the zone sizes during the campaign and now the campaign is a bit faster, I'm not sure I agree with that. I'll just say that. I'm not sure I agree with that the zones feel faster, because a lot of the zones, guys, the problem is not necessarily the size of the zone. The problem is the layout of the zone. A lot of the zones are literal labyrinths, and not in a good way, not in a fun way, not in a, you know, something nice to break the monotony of all the simple open zones that we have, and every now and then you get a bit more no, they are rage inducing. Mire is still quite I think they actually reduced the size of it, or maybe just, I don't know, I've gotten better at doing Mires, but Mire is definitely one of those. Cliffside, oh my lord, Cliffside is just literally an abomination of a map. And there are a few more other contenders, like just I'm not gonna point every single one of them out, right? Please, GGG, just go and play the maps and see how bad some of them feel to do. They feel really bad. Sun Temple, for example, is also one of them. And maybe on this topic, I would also like to mention checkpoints. Like, you guys did add checkpoints as a quasi-solution for all of the layouts and for the difficult map sizes and stuff like that. But the checkpoints just don't work. Like, when you do a Sun Temple, for example, you guys know Sun Temple. It's the triangular map with 3 floors. The top floor has the boss, and it has that stupid sun mechanic in the middle where you're like constantly getting damaged or ignited by the sun in the middle. Okay. Why are there no checkpoints at exits and entries, or like where the floor transitions are, where the staircases are? Because a lot of the time, these maps are designed in a way where you have to go around and around and around and around the center to get to another point. Like, you're literally next to a point, but you have to do a full 360 circle around the entire map to get back to a point where the stairs are when you, like, I don't know, finish a ritual. Why are there no checkpoints in maps like this? Or when you're in the campaign, just Act 1, a very simple example, Act 1, the final, what's the final area called? Sorry, guys. Let's just quickly check. The final area is Ogham Manor. So Ogham Manor has a few situations where you have to go down a set of stairs, but you also want to find that 10% fire resistance, or is it 20 life buff that you get? I think it's a life buff, right? You want to find that optional boss that gives you a permanent buff as well. So you find the staircase, and then you backtrack through an insanely infuriating layout to find the boss. You killed the boss, and now you have to backtrack to the stairs because there was no checkpoint there. Sometimes I would even go down all of like, you know, I would already come to the boss, and then I would realize I apparently missed the optional boss, the mini boss, somewhere along the way. And I try to use checkpoints to just quickly traverse the floors, and there just aren't any checkpoints. Again, guys, if you decided to use this as a solution, then maybe actually try and use it as a solution. One example, one recommendation for me, or from me personally, would be Expedition. Why doesn't Expedition, when you finish it, get a checkpoint? Why doesn't every ritual, when you finish it, get a checkpoint? Why doesn't the breach opening get a checkpoint when you finish it? Only when you finish the final content on the map, except for the boss, will you get an extra checkpoint. Other than that, we just aren't getting a lot of them. So my solution, or my recommendation, would be fix the layouts, like really reduce the layouts, and stop it with the dead ends and stupid labyrinth, and like a lot of it gets really infuriating, guys. It feels like it's designed in a way to where it's just wasting my time, where it's just artificially increasing the time that I spent in the game. Trust me, bros, if I'm going to be enjoying my time in the game more, then I'm gonna be willing to spend more time in the game. Not if I'm gonna be forced via silly mechanics and layouts to spend more time in the... You know what I mean? Like, try to make the game as fun as possible for us. That'll keep us in the game. Not artificially, you know, increasing the time. Which also kind of brings us to the... Recombinator, Salvage Bench, Reforging Bench, Relic Logger, like, there are so many things here in the Hideout that take way too much time. Way too much time. I never played PoE 1, so I should preface everything by saying I have never touched PoE 1. I played a lot of ARPGs, especially back in my day, like Diablo 2, Diablo 3, but you know, after Diablo 3 I kind of gave up on the genre because that scene, you know, that Deckard Cain scene. So yeah, but like here, for example, Reforging Bench is one of the worst offenders. If I drop in, like, let's say, stacks of 10 distilled emotions, or what are they called, like the Delirium emotions, let's just say this, right? If I drop in diluted liquid grid 3 times 10 and I click reforge here, why do we have to, and then I have to remove it, reforge again, and I have to remove it, reforge again, and I have to, why? Like, why did you guys decide to make it so stupid, so convoluted? It's, why can't I just click it once and get 3 of them? Or why can't I place 30 here, click reforge once and get 10 of them? I even saw other people mentioning like there are even faster and better ways implemented in PoE 1. Why did you decide to go down this path? It again feels like you're artificially trying to expand the time that I am wasting, literally wasting in the game. This is a waste of time, guys. If I'm not effectively doing something, you know, except reforging items, like, this is literally a waste of time. It's similar with the Salvage Bench and Disenchant. Not long ago I realized, or I read somewhere, that PoE 1 actually has this all within one vendor, I think. Just one vendor does it all. And then even if you have to choose, if you either want to salvage it or disenchant it, even that feels wrong to me. Like, if I want to just get the materials from an item, it should be just disenchant items. You throw in an item and you get everything off of it. Like, just everything. It salvages and disenchants the item immediately. So maybe just, I don't know, make the salvage bench do disenchanting as well. But yeah, so much for that. I would very quickly like to touch on Demonform. I know this is kind of coming out of nowhere, but Demonform is one of my favorite archetypes. I did not bother making any builds for this league because shout out to Funky Chicken and Hungry Boots Gaming. Both of them made a gazillion builds on Demonform this league, and I think they pretty much covered everything. But Demonform is still one of my favorite archetypes. It was the first archetype, the first character I played in 0.1. And I don't know, I just find, I kind of like the change that they did. You know, that part is fine. I'm not gonna complain about the way the damage does not stack now with Demon Flame. When you get more Demon Flame, you also get more damage, right? I'm okay with that. I'm fine with that because you gave us the weapons, right? So we can now equip the weapons, and just getting a shit ton of cast speed and more damage is okay in my opinion. But like, we have Pathfinder, and as you guys know, the Pathfinder gets immunity to slows and 50% less reduction from movement speeds from using skills. Then you have Gemling Legionnaire, which gets 40% reduced. Then you have other, like, why do we have an option of transforming into a flying demon, and then that flying demon does not give you any movement speed? Like, I do believe it increases your dodge roll, right? It makes your dodge roll faster or go further or whatever. And I am gonna say whatever because that's kind of whatever, guys. The GGG, I'm sorry, that's completely and totally whatever. Why aren't you giving immunity to a ground effect? Right? She's hovering, she's in the air, maybe she doesn't get ignited or chilled. Why isn't she getting maybe immunity to cursed ground? Why isn't she getting maybe, I don't know, 1% movement speed, and then at level 15 2% movement speed, and then at level 20 3% movement speed increase, which is literally nothing, just a little bit of a boost, but it would feel so thematically on point, right? Or maybe just give her as well some reduction to movement speed penalty while using skills. God, that's... Can you guys find a word for that? Because it takes so... it's a tongue twist to say it. But yeah, Demonform, in my opinion, does not feel good unless it gets just some kind of a movement trick. I don't know which one. I don't know what would be overpowered or too much, considering she's already getting the cast speed and the damage. I don't know, maybe take away 5% of the cast speed in order to give it some movement speed reduction penalty, whatever. Just, you know, it's a flying freaking demon, guys. And it just feels weird and wrong. Like, really weird, really wrong that we don't get anything out of that except for cast speed, more damage, and like, I guess, stronger dodge roll. Moving on, Delirium, Delirious maps. If you guys saw my the few builds that I decided to do this league, you will know that I also use Delirium on my. I always instill my maps with Delirium unless I forget to do it literally before corrupting the Waystones. But yeah, otherwise you always want to do it. Why? It gives you a lot more mobs. It gives you a lot more rarity. It gives you, like, why not is literally the question. Why would somebody not want to do it? And I'm not gonna waste too much time here, guys. The delirious effect is like, I know you guys are trying to simulate insanity. Good job. Good job. That's all I'm going to say. Great job, actually. Thankfully, we can already turn down the music and the effects, because those guttural effects and I'm sorry for what you just had to hear, but those of you who like to blast the sound effects loud and play delirious maps, you guys will know that this is literally insanity-inducing sound effects. Like, if you go 15 minutes actually listening to this shit, it will drive you crazy. Like, literally drive you crazy. And then you have the fog. I think enough time has been wasted on the, you know, on this topic. I'm gonna be a bit harsh. GGG. Can you please let me decide how much headache I want to induce when I am playing your video game? Right? I know it's your video game. I know you guys are the game developers and you get to decide how it's going to work. But I'm being so for real with you right now when I tell you it's headache inducing. Not in a conversational way, not in a I'm trying to be chicken bone and cute and... No, it's literally headache inducing. Like, it's harmful to play those maps to my mental state. So please, give us a slider. If nothing else, give us a goddamn slider so we can drop the delirious fog as far down as we can. It's been over a year now, or something, like close to a year, I think now. Everyone is sick and tired of it. Like, everyone. You can see the entire community is for this change. Literally, there is zero excuse for you not to implement it in 0.4. Like, I swear to God, I'm going to be the crusader of, like, complaints about delirious in 0.4 if you guys don't give us an option to turn it down. Because this is just getting absurd. We've been telling you guys for literally a year now, we don't want that. Or at least we don't want it as strong. And maybe you guys have even noticed the abyssal maps. Like, if you go into Overrun by Abyss, I mean, what the hell is even happening on the floor? When you have a million corpses, when you have the Abyssal Pits and the delirious fog, like, the floor is breathing. It gets... The effects are too much. Maybe quickly here, let's just touch on the visibility in general, and the difficulty and the density. So this section now is going to be visibility versus difficulty versus monster density. Okay? I'm okay with with either, like, if you guys want to go for meaningful combat, God, I hate that expression, but if you guys want to go for something, you know, more meaningful, where we are gonna have to dodge a bit more often and stuff like that, no problem. But then you have to really change the density and the speed of the monsters. Again, a topic that's been probably covered a million times, so I don't want to spend too much time here. Although I did warn you guys, this is a ranting video, so why not? Like, you can't have your cake and eat it, right? You can't have it both. You can't have meaningful combat with parrying and at the same time have 30 mobs jumping you at the same time and then just slightly stuttering their attacks. Like, right, they are chaining their attacks in a way where maybe you could parry 2 of them, 3 of them, but the next 25 are still gonna hit you. Like, what is even the point of trying to go all this meaningful combat and then packing our screens full of monsters? And then on the other hand, complaining when we make screen clearing builds, when we make single button screen clearing builds. Like, when you come to the end game, when you come to the final stages of the end game and you put 66% Delirious on your maps and you put increased pack size everywhere that you can because you're farming rituals and you put, you know, what is the point of us not having screen clearing capabilities? Because any other type of like approach will not work. There's way too much difficulty, way too much density. The mobs are too fast, and then you also get the modifiers where you make them even faster, and you make their crits even stronger, and you make, like, it's too much. I mean, it's not too much if we can get up to godlike power or godlike levels of power, which I'm down for. Don't get me wrong. I am not one of those people who's like, I don't like single button clears. I like both. I actually like both. I like doing a little bit of combos, and I also like it when my character, after, like, I don't know, level 90, and after a lot of investment into gear and all that, and, you know, corrupting the skills so that you get that +1 level and all the damage that you get, I'm actually okay with the build becoming a single button screen clear. That's my personal opinion. Now, I know a lot of guys, I know a lot of players already play PoE 1 and they already have that in PoE 1 and they don't want it to repeat here. Okay, no problem. But please realize one thing. As long as there is a single build that can clear content super fast, people are gonna gravitate towards that. People are gonna get FOMO. And it's not fair to like, I would personally say it's not fair to shit on people who get FOMO when they see Fobgun blasting through maps and like getting 5 divines per map. And no, it's like, it's completely natural and normal. This is a game based on farming currency and items so that you can improve your gear level, your power level, your like skill level. This is a game that literally is trying to encourage you to get as much farming done as possible, to get as much currency as possible so that you can grow your power or, you know, make a new character. It's literally ingrained in the philosophy of the game. So yeah, that's all I'm gonna say about that. I probably didn't touch on the visibility part that much, but visibility can get pretty problematic. There are builds where my skills are way too flashy and I don't see anything that's going on. And then also, like I said, when you have Abyssal overrun maps with Delirious effect on them and a shit ton of increased pack size, visibility just becomes an issue again. Ground effects, right? You don't see anything that's happening on the ground, so you cannot dodge, you cannot realistically get out of the way of really dangerous effects. So the best thing you can do is just keep on zooming forward so that everything explodes behind you and killing everything by touching it once so that you can clear your way forward and just keep moving. Yeah. Very quickly, Ascendancies. I wanted to talk about the Ascendancies and how underwhelming certain Ascendancies feel. I'm on a perfect character already to showcase this. So for the Chayula Monk, you guys decided to go with the whole volatility aspect of it. for this league, which is cute, kinda. I even went with what's it called, volatility on kill, volatility detonation time, and precise volatility. On my Chayula Monk, when I was playing it, I even took the volatility detonation time in order to reduce the explosion delay, in order to get those volatile explosions up and running as many times as possible. Long story short, it doesn't work, guys. Chayula Monk just does not work. It's completely underwhelming. The fact that this transforms into Unraveling, which is just like, seriously, you have to take 4 Ascendancy points in order to get this? And it's not even consistent? You can't even build around it? You literally cannot build around this, because it's, you know, it switches. It just switches from this and that. And then you also gave us the... what are they? The support gems. Then you also decided to give us the support gems. The linear support gems like this, Ashes Radiance, which already do what 4 points of Ascendancy on a character cannot do. I mean, it does better what 4 points of Ascendancy do for this character. So there's literally no reason to be taking Unraveling. You would just basically take the linear support gems to get the chaos damage contributes to whatever ailment, right? Also, I did see a video by Darth Microtransactions where he was talking about the darkness aspect of Chayula Monk. I never even tried this, with, you know, obviously the chaos resistance is doubled, but I never even went down this path, never even tried it. But after listening to his video, after seeing his video, I'm glad I never did it. Just hopefully you guys can do something with certain Ascendancies that feel really, really underwhelming. Like, this is one example. Another example would be Chronomancer. Even though Chronomancer can be really strong this meta, you can make really nice builds with it. It's not because of the Ascendancies, really. Like, the only Ascendancy that I found to be really useful, like really, really useful, like build defining, was the faster recoup, right? The rapid reverse, I think it's called. So the faster recoup Ascendancy. Sands of Time, where you get more AoE and more cast speed periodically, like a pendulum swinging, is really nice. Don't get me wrong, I like the Ascendancy, it's really cute. But other than that, the Ascendancy, even in and of itself, is so underwhelming. The fact that you have to take Time Rift in order to get Time Freeze just feels bad. The other side with the cooldowns also, like, I know that should probably be the build where I try Flameblast, right? Because it does get the part of the Ascendancy where you can kind of abuse cooldowns. But I wanted to see if I make a full investment into everything, into cooldown, would I be able to make it work on any character? Because in my opinion, this skill should be viable for any character if you go full in on it, right? Not only is it not viable on any character, I even think that Chronomancer would not work that nicely with it. So yeah, Ascendancies in general, Chronomancer, Acolyte of Chayula, those are 2 examples where I would just say they really need some work. Probably even Stormweaver. I did actually make a Stormweaver build with double 100% magnitude of shock, but other than that, it just doesn't feel good. Honestly, does not feel good to play Stormweaver. So yeah, another bug I would like to mention, which was really weird, I just realized, because I haven't been doing a lot of overrun by Abyssal maps lately. However, I have been actually desecrating my Waystones, because that is a thing, right? You definitely made Waystone Crafting way too convoluted this league. Like, for me personally, I was pretty much ignoring the preserved vertebrae for the entire league. I know that was probably a mistake. I know people are gonna be like in the comments, no, you really should use the... I know these are good modifiers, but I just couldn't bring myself to actually waste my entire, you know, extra 5 minutes just to go into the Abyssal Well and or the Well of Souls and get the corruption going there. Like, no. Please, if possible, for the next league, try to scale it back again. Try to make it not as convoluted. But anyway, I have started using this. I have started doing a lot of Abyssal, overrun by Abyssal maps. And I noticed that when you get the Desecration, Abyssal Pits always have rewards. So when a map is already overrun by the Abyssal, like already on the map, right? When you go into the map device and you what am I doing? When you go into the map device and you can already see the overrun by Abyssal on the map. Am I even gonna find one? Do we have any anywhere? I know I marked a few of them for myself. Okay, so this is already overrun by the Abyssal. I would always try to save Abyssal Pits always have rewards for a map like this, because obviously you get like 30 Abyssal Pits and all of them are gonna have rewards. They don't. Now it's not really bad, it's not like only half of the pits get rewards, right, when you use this mod, but 2 or 3 pits definitely do not get rewards. Maybe there's a reward that I'm not aware of, like a reward in the form of a monster spawning or something. But typically, I feel like it should have either an entrance to one of the underground areas, or it should have the Abyssal Trove, the Abyssal Cache, you know, come up from the ground, and then you can open it. And it just does not work, in my experience. At least not always. And I did a few maps with this, and I noticed that like every single time 2 or 3 or 4 or 5 pits, I don't know how many, but a small amount of pits would not work. Yeah, that is pretty much it. That's all I wrote down for now. Unfortunately, it was like I just had an idea to do this video today, so unfortunately I don't have probably all the things that I wanted to talk about, but these are at least a few of the issues that I find in the campaign, in the end game. I know this patch is going to bring, or this league is going to bring, a huge revamp to the end game, hopefully. So we'll see how that works. But yeah, thanks for watching, you guys. I hope you liked it. I hope you agreed with some of it. If you don't, or if you do, leave a comment. Let me know, you know, what you liked about my takes, what you didn't. Like, comment, subscribe, and all that. And we'll see you for the next video. Okay, bye-bye now.